our super easy crochet bucket hat pattern. This tutorial will walk you through step by step. Hi, it's Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Today we are making this gorgeous crochet bucket hat just using basic double crochet stitches. To make your super easy crochet bucket hat, you're going to need yarn. I used just different colors of size 4 worsted weight acrylic, about 165 meters. I also used a 6mm crochet hook. You can use one stitch marker if you are new to crochet. You'll also need a needle for sewing in your ends and a pair of scissors. Here are the timestamps so you can jump back in right where you left off, and let's get started. So I'm going to start by making a magic ring. If you would rather do a chain 3 ring, you are welcome to do that as well. But to make a magic ring, just hold that tail over your non-dominant hand and hold it onto your ring finger with your thumb. Wrap the yarn around your top 2 fingers, making an X, and bring it around your ring finger to also hold it underneath your thumb. Turn your hand over. You have a short strand and a long strand. Slide your crochet hook side facing down underneath the short strand and on top of the long strand. Bring the long strand underneath the short strand and point the hook towards yourself up on the fat part of your hook. Release your thumb a little bit and just let that long strand slide. Grab the long strand, pinch everything underneath your hook, and bring that yarn through the loop. And there is your magic ring. And we're going to chain 1. Pull up a bit of a bigger loop on your hook and make 11 double crochets into the center of the ring, taking care to go over your tail. We want 11 double crochets and working over your tail. If your tail gets short, just give it a bit of a pull so that you can still be working over it. You can pause the video, keep working along until you have your 11 double crochets done. If you'd like to follow along with the written pattern, all of my patterns are available on my website, secretyarnery.com, and all of my patterns are written in plain English, just like I was sitting there right beside you. So there's my 11 double crochets. Go ahead and pull that center tail nice and shut. And we're going to slip stitch into the top of the real double crochet right here to join. Just slide your hook in, 2 strands of that V on your hook, and slip stitch to join. I'm changing colors, so I'm going to chain 1 to secure my yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through, snug that down to secure, and now you are ready to grab your next color of yarn. And I'm going to insert my hook into this stitch right after our join, right there. Just pop your hook in and get a loop of your next color. This is for row 2. Bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, and drop your tail and chain 2. 1 and 2. This counts as our first double crochet, and into the very same stitch, we want to make 1 more double crochet into the same stitch. And now into each stitch all the way around, we're going to make 2 double crochets into each. So wrap your yarn, 2 double crochets into each stitch. You can pause the video and keep working along, and I'll meet you when you get over here to where that join is, right here. When you get back to that join, we're going to work in before and after. So we're going to make 2 double crochets before the join, right there, and we're going to make 2 double crochets into the stitch after. It's really the same stitch, but we're working in before the knot and after the knot, and that is going to end up with 12 of these pairs. And our center wheel will look really cute. So before that slip knot, or before the chain 1, just pop your hook in, 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and 2 double crochets after. You can work over that tail a little bit. There we go. So now we have 12 pairs of double crochets. I'm going to change color again. So I'm going to slip stitch into the top of our chain right here to join. You want 2 strands on the top of your hook. Slip stitch to join, chain 1 to secure your yarn, and cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through, snug that down to secure. I'm just going to tighten that center magic ring a little bit. Just like that, and now we're ready to do round 3. To start round 3, just find a pair of those double crochets, and we want to put our hook in between them, and just not exactly where you've joined, just pick a different spot. Grab your next color of yarn, loop of yarn on your hook, bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, drop your tail, and chain 2. 1 and 2. Now into that very same space, we're going to make 2 more double crochets, or 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2, and our chain counts as our first double crochet, so that counts as 3 double crochets. And we're going to do that in between each pair of double crochets in the row below. When you get to your tail, you can work over it. So I'm just going to drag that tail over. 3 double crochets in between those stitches into the space. And 3 double crochets in between each pair all the way around. So you can pause the video, keep working your way around. 3 double crochets in between each pair of double crochets in the row below. And I will meet you when you get back around right over here. When you get back around, 3 double crochets in between each of those pairs of stitches. We're going to join and continue. So this is how to join and keep going with the same color yarn. We're going to work into the same spot, the top of that chain, but we're going to do a single crochet. So popping your hook in, 2 strands of that chain on the top of your hook, bring your yarn back and just make 1 single crochet to join, and chain 2. 1 and 2. So that counts as our first double crochet. And into the same space, we're going to do 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. So that counts as our first 3 double crochets. And we're going to do 3 double crochets in between, or into the spaces between our sets from the previous row. So just hopping right over. I'm not chaining or anything. We don't need big spaces in our hat. So 3 double crochets into the next space, and 3 double crochets into each space all the way around. You can pause the video, 3 double crochets into each space, and I'll meet you when you get right back over here where we started. When you get back around to where you started, yours might be dishing up just like mine. That's great. And we're going to work right into the top of that chain, and I'm going to finish this color off, so I'm going to change colors. So if you're going to keep going, you'll join with a single crochet and a chain 2 to start the next row. If you are going to change yarns, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain, the same spot, and chain 1 to secure your yarn. Pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down to secure. So now the top of our hat is finished. We are ready to do an increase round. You can see how it's a bit dishy. So now we're going to do increases, and this is where you can size your hat to be the right size for your head, or make them in different sizes if you are going to be selling them. So again, just pop your hook into any space, just not where we joined, and get your next color of yarn. Loop of yarn on your hook, bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, and drop your tail, and chain 2. 1 and 2. Make 1 more double crochet into that same space. So into each of these spaces, we're going to do an increase. An increase is 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. So we're building this little shell. So this is going to be a space for the next round. So we're adding a space. Into the next, we're going to do the same thing. So 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, all into the same space. And this gives you a normal adult size hat. So you can customize the hat to fit whatever size you'd like just by spacing out these increases or doing increases in every space all the way around. So pause the video, keep working around, and I'll meet you when you get back over here where we began. When you get back to where we began, you're going to slide those stitches forward. We're just going to finish off the increase. So into that same space, we're going to do our 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And instead of slip stitching to join, we are going to continue with the same color yarn. So we're going to join with a single crochet right into the top of that chain. So the same place we always have been joining, but we're just going to do it with a single crochet so we can keep going with this yarn color. So single crochet to join. I just want to wiggle my finger through the center of that increase, that space, chaining 2, and into the same space, I want to do 2 double crochets. So this is going to make our first set of 3, just like that. And now into every space, including the center of those increases, we're going to do 3 double crochets into each. So 3 double crochets into the regular space. If I'm going too fast or too slow, you can speed me up with that gear on the video. And now into the space, the increase we made, also 3 double crochets into the space. Just like that. So you can pause the video, keep working around, 3 double crochets into the space and 3 double crochets into the center of that increase, all the way around, and I'll meet you when you get back over here where we began. When you get back to where you began, slip stitch into the top of that chain if you're finished with your color, or join with a single crochet and chain 2. Chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through, snug that down to secure. So now you can pause the video, keep working along. You want to do 8 more rows of this 3 double crochets into each space. You can change colors if you would like, whenever you would like. So pause the video and I'll meet you when you have done 8 more rows. So I've completed my 8 rows and it's also completed row 14. So now for row 15, we are going to do an increase round, and this is going to start the brim of our hat. I've joined with a single crochet and a chain 2 because I'm going to be continuing with this color for 1 more row. So into this space, we're just going to do a regular shell. So that's 3 double crochets, including the chain. So we're making 2 double crochets into that space, and that counts as our first set of 3. And we're going to alternate doing an increase and a regular shell, an increase and a regular shell all the way along. So into the next space, we're going to do an increase. So that is 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets into the same space. So same increase as we were doing at the top of the hat. We are doing it again now, but we're going to alternate doing an increase and then just a regular set of 3. 2 and 3. And into the next space, an increase. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, all into the same space. There's my 2 double crochets, my chain 1, and my last 2 double crochets. Just like that. Now into the next space, I'm going to do a regular set of 3 and then an increase, regular set of 3 and an increase all the way around. So you can pause the video and keep working around, and I'll meet you when you get right back over here where we began. When you get back to where we began, I'm going to change colors, so I'm finished with this. If you are not going to change colors, you can join with a single crochet. I'm changing colors, so I'm going to join with a slip stitch and a chain 1. Insert your hook into any space, either of an increase or a regular space, and join your yarn. Loop of new yarn on your hook, bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, and drop your tail just holding it along the back of your work, and chain 2. That counts as your first double crochet, and 2 more double crochets into that same stitch or same space. Just like that. And into the increase space, 3 double crochets. And into the space, 3 double crochets. So you can pause the video, keep working around doing 3 double crochets into each space and into the space of our increases all the way around, and I'll meet you when you get back over here where we began. When you reach back to where we began, if you're going to continue with the same color, join with a single crochet and a chain 2. For me, I'm finished with this color, so I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1. And then join my next color. The loop of new color on my hook, bringing it through, slip stitching with both strands, dropping my tail and chaining 2, and making 2 double crochets into that same space. And now for the brim, I'm just going to continue for 2 rows, just doing the regular 3 double crochets into each space, all the way around for 2 rows. So you can pause the video and get 2 rows done with whatever color you would like for the brim of your hat. And I will meet you when you've done your 2 rows and you are back to where we started that round. After your 2 rows for the brim of your hat, we are going to make 1 slip stitch into the top of the chain. But we're also going to continue with this yarn. So we're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Now into each stitch, going all the way along, we're going to make 1 single crochet into each. So starting in the next stitch, 1 single crochet, and 1 single crochet into each stitch. We're going to do this all the way around. It's going to help the brim of our hat not flip up like a sun hat. It's going to behave like a bucket hat. If you're new to crochet, you could also just pop a stitch marker into where we began so you can see it as you're coming back along. So pause the video, keep working along, 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I'll meet you when you get back to where we started. When you get back to where we started, I'm going to show you how to join with an invisible join. Just as the edge of our hat, we want it to look real pretty, and it is easy to do. So don't worry if you haven't joined an invisible join before. You can totally do it. Don't be intimidated. So instead of joining, I just cut my yarn, and now I'm going to pull my hook up and my yarn through that last single crochet I made. And now I'm going to thread it on my needle. We want to be looking at the edge of our work. We want to find that first single crochet we made. We want to put our needle underneath both strands of that cute little V, just where we normally would be putting our crochet hook. So just bring your yarn through that stitch where we would have been slip stitching to. And now look where our yarn is coming from, the center of that stitch right there. We're just going to go right back down where the yarn came from. Right there. So just bring your yarn through and shrink it up, not too much. We want it to look like a regular stitch. Just like that. And when it does look like a regular stitch along the edge, go ahead and sew in your tail. So just bring it down and sew it in where there is more yarn. So I just bring it down to a fat part where I can get it underneath all of those strands of yarn. Taking care, I don't want to pinch it too much. I don't want to lose that pretty stitch at the top. And then just going back and forth a few times. Now you can cut off your tail. Sew in the rest of your tails, and you're finished. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. I'm waiting for you in that video up there, and stay hooked.